In today's video, I wanted to try something different and look into a different mascot horror game to see what you guys think. It's also been a while since I've even thought about this series, but with the creator making a post on X not too long ago, I think now would be the best time to get into it. The game series we are talking about is none other than the Bendy and the Ink Machine series, in particular, Bendy the Cage. But first, let's hear from today's sponsor, Jerky Pro. Jerky Pro is an American based beef jerky company. They are FDA, USDA, and SNAP food stamp approved. They have amazing deals going on right now, like 2 1-pound bags with 2 additional 3-ounce bags for $80. Or my personal favorite, the Variety Bundle, which includes 10 assorted 3-ounce bags. But they don't just stop at beef jerky. They also have normal household groceries like meats, breads, and energy drinks. They are partnered with Texas Roadhouse and Omaha Steaks to bring you high quality steaks that you can also buy in bulk. If you use my code DARNBLUECRAB with a capital DBC, you will get 5% off of your orders at checkout. Thank you again to Jerky Pro for sponsoring this video. For those of you who don't know about Bendy and the Ink Machine, or need a refresher, Bendy and the Ink Machine is a first-person survival horror game that started back in February of 2017 with the first game in the series, Bendy and the Ink Machine, Chapter 1, Moving Pictures. In that game, you play as Henry Stein. Henry is a former employee of Joey Drew Studios, and you get a letter in the mail from the main man himself, Joey Drew. And he asks you to swing by the old studio because he wants to give us something. We wander around the old studio until we come across the ink machine. After turning the machine back on and realizing that it was a big mistake, we now have to escape before the ink demon consumes us. We pass out, the chapter ends. In the remaining 4 chapters, we explore Joey Drew Studios, slowly unraveling the horrors that lie within. At the end of the game, we are teleported to Joey Drew's apartment, and the conversation we have with Joey matches the invitation we are given back at the beginning of Chapter 1. We then open the door to the apartment and are back at the beginning of the game. Time loop. Bendy made a return in 2022 with Bendy and the Dark Revival. In this game, we play as Audrey. She is an animator at Archgate Studios, the company that bought out Joey Drew and acquired the Bendy IP. In this game, they leaned more into the horror aspect. They added a stealth mechanic, added more jump scares, and the game had a scarier atmosphere. We get to meet the cute cartoon version of Bendy, and we become friends. There are new mechanics shown, like being able to banish the ink monsters if we sneak up on them, and they give us the ability to teleport. Later in the game, we meet up with Joey Drew, who gives us an inspirational speech before lore dumping and explaining that there is a time loop and why it is happening. We then meet up with Joey Drew again, where he then does a second dose of lore dumping to explain that Audrey, the person we're playing as, is an ink creature that he himself created. We then come across Henry from the first game, and he explains how to defeat the ink demon and reset the time loop. We then come across Wilson, who is a technician for Archgate, and he explains that we need to help him to save his father. We go along, because why not? And it turns out that he's a big old liar and wants to sacrifice us to create a new ink demon that will kill Bendy and solely be under his control. We end up pushing Wilson into what looks like a meat grinder, and then he becomes the game's final boss as another ink demon. After defeating this ink demon, Bendy, in his ink demon form, swoops in and consumes the other ink demon before consuming us. Joey Drew shows up to give us another inspirational speech and gives us the film reel from the first game so that we can end this time loop. We can now control the ink demon, which is cool. And after getting to the end of the game, We then play the film reel and reset the time loop. We are back in our office, but now we have a book with all the memories that we made during the first time loop. We have accepted who we are, and we are trying to make the next cycle better for those who have helped us. Also, cartoon Bendy is in the real world, and he's just hanging out at our desk. Sweet. Now that that trip down memory lane is finished, let's get to why we're here. As I stated earlier, the creator of the Bendy series, The Meatly, had made a post on X back on March 11th stating, "I am currently only working on bringing Bendy the Cage to the finish line. There is a lot of work being done on several other major Bendy products, including Bendy in the Ink Factory, but in this exact moment, the cage is the only thing on my mind." For those of you that don't know what BATIF is, it stands for Bendy and the Ink Factory. It is another game in the Bendy series that was announced back in August. If you guys want me to make a video going into that game, let me know down in the comments below. Bendy the Cage is a spin-off game that takes place during the events of Bendy the Dark Revival. The description states, "Test your sanity as you take control of Henry in this third-person horror experience taking place during the events of Bendy the Dark Revival. Condemned to the keeper prison known as the Pit, Henry must survive the horrific inmates and mangled experiments set loose to devour him. A labyrinth of steel industrial dread lay before him as his mind is invaded by the past. Discover the hidden blood-stained truth behind the monsters as you explore the dark levels of the pit, slowly making your way to the very top of the facility. Take on the darkness with your axe in brutal melee combat, unleash fast and heavy strikes, block and parry incoming attacks, shove your foes away, and stomp on your enemies with vengeance, and time your dodges to avoid being torn apart by the things that haunt you. Dive into the shadows for limited supplies as you embark on a twisted tale of Henry's self-discovery while facing down new and familiar creatures of the ink. Find the maestro, escape the prison, fight the madness." This is a huge step in the right direction because the game has been in development since mid to late 2023. According to the Steam page, it is planned to be released sometime during 2026. My guess is probably around August or September, depending on how far into development they got and how much had to get reworked due to it being in development for such a long time. It does seem like it has a darker tone to it and will lean more heavily into the horror aspect, both atmospheric and psychological. I have seen in some places that this will be a more mature rated experience. Since that post was made, there have been a lot of advertisements around the release of the cage, which leads me to believe that we will see it sooner rather than later. But we will have to wait to find out. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more horror-related content. This is Darn Blue Crab, the horror news outlet, and I'm signing off. Peace.